did they have that little sanctuary on the Century Drive at the time?
It had this, had that regular brick building with it. That's what it was. Yeah.
And then
What was it? When the church started growing, it wasn't no time until we had to tear the classrooms out of the back to have room in the sanctuary, you know. And it really was bunched up for Sunday school class, basically, you know. And then in 84, we built that gym building and had all the room we needed then, you know.
You know that your church life, I know, has a lot of events in it and all, but most of our lives, it's people involved in our lives that always come to mind. And for me, I know that for my mentors, besides you, Brother Mo, it's been always people I look up to and even back to is Brother Buzz and Brother Darrell. And things that they taught me in life of Christ, they lived. So it was really easy for me to just see through them all the time, and knowing that they were the best examples that God put before me to follow, you know. But in the life of the church, can you recall anyone that really was, you know, whoever, maybe more than one probably, that come to your heart all the time?
You know, the Lord had a way, and that's the only way I made it. I knew that the Lord had a way of putting good people around me, you know. And by His grace and all these good people around me, they could make me look pretty good, you know. And I always, every church I pastored, I had teachers in it, you know. People smarter than me. And that was a challenge, and then it got to where I had lawyers in the church. And then I had to do some thinking that I had to change some aspects of preaching because I had to feed the educated people also, you know. And that made me dig and grow but any success I had was because of the grace of God and the good people He put around me.
I've remembered several times when we talked about Sister Irma, that you always told me that she really made you look good all these years.
She did. I tell you. I know every church that I went to, I would have this understanding with the board. Because a lot of the churches back then, when they got a pastor, they wanted his wife to be able to play the piano and be chairman of the Women's Missionary Society, and without pay, you know, or nothing. And that didn't matter because, but I would tell them, I'd say, now, you're getting me, you're not getting her, for nothing. And I said, she don't want no pay. But I said, she'll be just like anyone else in the congregation to do what God wants her to do. Everywhere we'd go, the first thing she'd do is start a women's prayer group every time. And she'd work with the young mothers and stuff, helping them, telling them things how to raise their babies, you know, and counseling with them all the time. And like I say, she made me look good.
You know, we've also been talking about people, you know, that we've met and come through the church and gone on to preach at different churches, become pastors or officials in the church or church life. And I remember when we first got here, the thing that impressed me so was the dedication there was to the Mid-America program. Can you tell us something about that?
Those old folks was glad because they had an idea of they would like to have a church or something like that on their property. And so they sold them the first parcel, you know, and give them an option to buy the rest of it later on, you know. And they struggled hard for the first few years. But I know I was on 2 or 3 state boards, and I went to them and I said, I want every board. And I think there was 5 boards. I said, I want every board to rearrange your budget and put $10,000 in. And so we gave them $50,000. You know. And we had them in our budget here in the Moore Church. And Don will come one day and he says, hey, Mose, if you'll get your church to kick in the extra $10,000, I'll match it. And I said, well, I believe we can do that. And we did, so that was $20,000 more, you know. And I was on the board of church extension, and I got them to loan $25,000. And then when the note come due, I would forgive them of that note, and then turn around and loan them 25 more, you know. And that went on for a number of years. And the state basically got behind the college, you know.
Well, our church did too. I remember, you know, again, we were talking about some of the students that come through.
Yeah.